We're back on the One Piece journey with the Straw Hat crew finally goes up to the sky. And on this episode of Movie Breakdown series review, we're going to review One Piece Season 6, Part 1. What's up, world? Welcome to another episode of Movie Breakdowns. I'm your host, Zakka. And before I get started, is there a review you want me to do, let me know. Please put in the comment section below and I get to it as best I can. Also, Patreon.com/AliZakka for $2 a month. Get a cut in front of everybody, get your review out before it comes on Facebook and YouTube, and get other content on there. Now, let's go ahead and get into today's episode of One Piece Season 6, Part 1. So, before I hop into it, we're cutting Season 6 in half. Reason why, there's 52 episodes, and generally once a season goes over 25 episodes or goes over 30 episodes, I'm going to cut it in half to make it easier to review and digest. And because of that, Skypiea is a very, very long arc. Skypiea and Jaya is two different arcs. The two different arcs that kind of combine into one, where the storylines come together. And the whole series, the whole season is 52 episodes. So I'm like, all right, let's cut it in half. 26 is going to be part 1, and then the last 26 is going to be part 2. And part 1 is a lot of stuff happens. So after we get done with the Alabasta arc and the filler episodes of Season 5, Nico Robin's part is finally a part of the crew, and a ship falls on them from the sky. Almost crashes on the Straw Hat Pirates. They get to the debris and everything, finds out there's like a map on here, and they find out there's another I can't think of the name of it right now. It's like a little compass that sets a little log post they find on this, and they're like, it's pointing up to the sky, and it's like there's can't be anything up to the sky, can there? And so the Straw Hat crew is trying to figure out if there is something in the sky, and they go to the nearest island, Jaya, which they hear about the story of Skypiea, and they hear about the underwater, the sea, like golden underwater. They meet this guy named Nolan who keeps diving underwater, and also they meet two of the monkey kind of characters who are big apes, and they're friends with Nolan's son. And it's Nolan's son, not Nolan himself, Cricket. Because Nolan is the fabled hero or liar, you would say, who said there's a city of gold, and he believes it's sunk into the water, but in reality, the city of gold shot up to the sky. So Cricket is trying to find his grandfather's or great-great-grandfather's city of gold, so he's searching into the water looking for it. And the Straw Hat crew's like, well, we want to get to the sky. Can you help us get up there? And they're like, okay, we can try to help you guys get up there and figure this out after a bunch of the conflicts happening. It's like, we can help you get up there and get to the sky. But you need to get up to the knockout stream, which is a giant gust of water, like a giant torpedo of water that shoots up to the sky. And you ride the stream up to Sky Island. But before they can get there, the crew goes around town. They meet a guy named Bellamy, who's a pirate. Who's Bellamy the Hyena, who's a pirate underneath Doflamingo. And he's like ruthless in this area. And he's a big shot. Well, he meets Luffy and pretty much just destroys Luffy. And this is actually a scene that harkens back to Season 1, Episode 1, or manga's, or maybe Episode 3 or 4, but in the manga it's Chapter 1, where Luffy and Zoro don't fight. They do not fight in this battle. They're getting trashed on by Bellamy's crew. They're spitting on them, throwing drinks on them, food on them, getting trash on, beating them up. But Luffy and Zoro don't fight back. They do not lift a finger, because for them, lifting a finger to tell them about their goals and dreams, because Luffy said he's gonna find One Piece. And for people who are not gonna understand what that means, it's like, we're not gonna fight back. Y'all can do what y'all want, but y'all not hurting our pride. Which Blackbeard is also in town, and Blackbeard is like, this guy here won this fight where I ain't lifting a finger. And he tells Luffy one of the most iconic scenes, that dreams never die. Like, it's cool interacting with Blackbeard, how Oda written Blackbeard into this storyline, which reality, he didn't have to be there. But Blackbeard is there, and but Oda written Blackbeard into the storyline as well. So he weaves him into it. As well, Bellamy, who's handled by Doflamingo, and then you have the Sky Island stuff. And eventually it gets to the point where Luffy versus Bellamy, because Bellamy decides to go attack Cricket and taste Cricket's stuff. And Luffy's like, okay, you attack my friends, game over. We're ending this. And Bellamy, thinking he's slick, he's using his spring fruit, which turns his legs into like giant springs. He's bouncing all over the place. And Luffy's like, wait, and then, just one fell hit. Not even using his gum fruit. He just hit him so hard. Bellamy just dropped straight to the ground. And everyone's like, Luffy's bounty is 30 million. In reality, he's got hiking up to 100 million at this point. And Zoro finally got a bounty of 60 million. But he knocks Bellamy clean out. And everyone's like, what the? Oh my gosh. And I love the shock behind it. And Luffy just walks away. And they're like, where are you doing? Where are you going? He's like, I'm going up. Sky Island. So the first part of this, the first couple episodes of season 6 is them just trying to figure out how to get to Sky Island. And it's some good character building there. It's only 9 episodes with the Jaya and Cricket and Bellamy stuff, but it's some very good One Piece writing. And it sets up more than just what's going on with Sky Island. You have Blackbeard, who's naturally going after Luffy because he feel like he can get Luffy, he can get some more clout. You have Bellamy, who thought, his mind view was like, it's me, I'm running the world, money and power runs everything. In reality, nah, man, you can go follow your dreams. You don't have to follow by power and money. It's Luffy pretty much set him straight. It's a lot going on here and some great content in this first part of the season. These first 9 episodes are really, really solid. The next 16 episodes are pretty much all Sky Island going forward. They finally get up to Sky Island. They learning that the fish and animals up here are similar to the fish down below, and they're learning about how the clouds are made and everything. But they didn't pay a tab. The Straw Hat crew doesn't pay. They're told again to Sky Island, and they become wanted criminals. So fitting because they're pirates down below, it's pirates up here, and they get help from 2 other Skypiea people or humans. They get help from them that also make them kind of criminals for helping out the Straw Hat pirates. And then they eventually get to this island of judgment, or the trial island, which is pretty much an actual land, and end up being the other part of Jaya that blows up into the sea thanks to Naka Stream, because Naka Stream moves around every few years, so it gets blown up from the sea to the sky. And Nami and the Straw Hat crew are gonna look for the city of gold on Jaya. That's where, not Jaya, but on Skypiea. And this the land that the native, kind of like the natives of Skypiea or Sky Island or Jaya got shot up with the island. They are living up here, and they also gotten kind of adapted with the land. I'm trying to think what the name of them are. Shandorians. So the Shandorians pretty much are like Native Americans, or they're based off Native Americans, and they use kind of like what's called dials to get around. And not only just them, but also the Skypeans use dials, which is kind of like shell that you can add a mimic sound. You can use to make pressure. You can use it to make fire. Different things with the dials. They put stuff into it, and the dials actually become a very good arsenal of Usopp's weapons going forward. But the dials are just for the Straw Hat crew first learn of dials and how powerful dials can be and what they can be used for. So some people who has a javelin of heat, they put a heat dial inside a javelin, makes it a flame dial, which makes the javelin on fire as well. So, and the bird can use one to shoot out fire. So the dial pretty much give her the power. And this is also the first time you heard about mantra, which is kind of like hockey, which Sky Island, they call mantra hockey, or call hockey mantra. When you go back down below, it's called hockey. I do like how Oda, no matter depending on where you part in the world, what different language you use for the same kind of stuff. Now, hockey has not been introduced yet in this series, but this is the first time you actually get a glimpse of it, of what it is. So the Straw Hat crews are fighting Inaru's, who is considered God, his minions, his top guys, his top generals in this first half of the season here. And you have Centauri, Gesto, and I can't think of the other guy's name, who's a fire dude. Shura. They fight Shura, and they all have to pretty much survive their trials on the upper yard and survive their trials and ordeals or to get through. And Luffy, Sanji, and Usopp take out Satori. They finally take him out, who uses kind of like balloons, or not even balloon, but ball clouds to fight, and he kind of plays around with them while Shura uses string and Gonfall fights him. But Shura gets defeated by Wiper, who's one of the Sandorians, and Satori gets defeated by Luffy, Luffy, Usopp, and Sanji. And before we get to like the second part of this, what happens is the next setup as the Straw Hat crew find out that the island that they're currently on in Skypiea is actually part of Jaya, and the City of Gold is up here. They go look for the City of Gold, while the Sandorians and the Skypeans are going to fight each other. Guys, Inaru's men is going to fight the Sandorians for the Battle of Upper Yard in the land that is considered sacred land that they're on. That's pretty much the gist of season 6, part 1, where you finally get the Straw Hat crew who's looking for the Island of Gold in Skypiea. The Sandorians trying to take their land back from God Inaru, who's pretty much conquering. He has different plans to... We don't know what his plans are, but he's ready for make a big move. And a lot of setup is happening in this first part of season 6, part 1. A lot of setup is happening that's going to lead to the back half here of season 6, part 2. Which, watching this back is kind of cool, learning more about the dials and how the dials are being used. Learning more about, like, mantra, which really is as nothing but, you know, hockey, but just use a different area. And this is kind of the first time the Straw Hat crew finally get used to using hockey and get around hockey. I actually like that. I like that Oda set up so much stuff here that plays out later in the series, but it starts right here in Skypiea. And Skypiea does seem long. I feel like there's certain times where it does drag out. Certain episodes seem a little bit longer than what it needs to be. And sometimes there's animation where the animation is not that strong. Like, there's sometimes you look at a character as like a stick drawing. And maybe because coming out week by week at this point, so they haven't really had time to work on something, or the animation style is switching, the art style is switching. But you can definitely tell in certain episodes where they're rushing through episodes, you can notice their characters might look like a circle and a blob versus the actual detailed character that you see in later episodes of One Piece. But it's cool. Like, this first half is definitely a setup arc, and I think the first 9 episodes hit really hard. The next 16 are setting up what's about to happen here in the back half of season 6. All right, so kind of get into like the characters of season 6 here. So season 6 came out in 2005 when it was aired, and the characters, you have Luffy, Monkey D. Luffy. He's still the Straw Hat pirate the captain who wants to just go on an adventure. And for him, this whole thing is about adventure. He wants adventure. He wants to do something exciting and live and have stories to tell. That's what Luffy's doing in this season. It's just been about adventure and just having fun. And anybody who's getting his way, he's pretty much kicking their butt. Because, like, we want to be free. We're pirates. Don't ruin our fun. And then Nami's about this because she's here as gold. She wants more gold. She wants more money. Anything to do with money is driving her in this season. Like, it's purely about the money. If it's not money, she's afraid and terrified. But have a chance to get some gold, she's all about it. Sanji, he actually learned how to cook some Skypiean food. He learned more about Skypiea and how to use the delicacies and how to cook the fish. I like how Oda plays around with him cooking and making dishes, and then also be able to combat and fight off people. Like, he's one of the heavy hitters in this season when it comes to fighting, and him and Luffy take a number on Satori. Usopp's kind of soaking everything in this season. He's still terrified, still afraid. He hasn't really grown up yet as far as that aspect, but he's still willing to fight and go on this adventure with his friends and having a good time, but he's soaking up everything. Chopper is pretty much... He's still a team doctor, he's the ship's doctor, but he has a moment where he doesn't really fight. He's trying to protect the ship, but he doesn't really fight. Like, he's still a terrified little kid. That's what he is. But he is, like, at this point, just kind of find his groove, find his strength in the crew as far as, like, battle-wise, but he's more of a pacifist in this group, which makes sense. He's a doctor. And then Zoro, he's here to have fun, have a good time, explore with everybody else. And Robin, who's also on this on this adventure with the Straw Hat Pirates, who's just kind of looking around. She's exploring stuff. She likes exploring, learning about new land, new stuff. So she's soaking everything in as well. So you have Zoro, Luffy, Robin, who's all about exploring and adventure. Chopper, Nami, and Usopp's kind of afraid and timid, but they're like, it is what it is. We're here with the rest of them. And then Sanji, who's kind of like, I'm just here, make sure everybody have a good time, make sure everybody's eating nourished and nourished. Like, that's what he is. The other character, you have Cricket. Cricket is the great-great-grand. Like, he's like a couple of generations away from Nolan. And Cricket is kind of like trying to redeem his family name by finding the city of gold. He's constantly searching every day for the city of gold, going down to the water looking for it. But when the Straw Hat crew's trying to find a way to tell him, like, hey man, stop going down, he's killing himself. And he kind of tells him where Jaya and the story of Skypiea, not Jaya, but story of Skypiea, and he kind of points in the direction to get there. Mashura is the giant monkey who also friends with Cricket. And Shoju is the giant monkey who's also friends with Cricket as well. Nolan is the storyteller who is the considered liar. He was an adventurer as well, and he found the city of gold, and he went back to go tell the family, tell his kingdom that where the city of gold is at. When they get back to Jaya, they don't find it. It's gone. And he says he's sunk to the bottom of the water, but he gets killed for that, and his story gets told forever about him being a liar. In reality, he's not. It's above versus below. Bellamy is a character who he's a he's a top pirate at this point. He's a captain of his own crew, but he's part of Doflamingo's crew. But he's one of his own regiment underneath Doflamingo. Kind of like how Ace is the second commander of the Whitebeard Pirate. It's the same thing with Bellamy with Doflamingo. And Bellamy pretty much think he's hot shit, running everything until Luffy put him in his place. And I like that Luffy took one hit to take down Bellamy. When I was younger, I hated it. I thought I was going to get this drag-out fight because all the things Bellamy did. And Luffy was like, nah, I don't got time. Knock the dude out. Let's go and get out of here. Blackbeard, you finally got Blackbeard in as a character. You finally get to see Blackbeard and who he's about and what he's going for, and he actually turns his attention towards Luffy and try to capture Luffy in this season, because Luffy bounty is 100 million now and Zoro bounty is 60 million. So Blackbeard now turns his attention to capture Luffy. At first he was just hanging out, and you meet his crew and what they're up to, but he was really just hanging out on Jaya, kind of trying to apply his next move. Gonfall, who is the former king of Skypiea, he loses out to Inaru, but he's helping out the Straw Hat Pirates because he wants to protect everybody and he wants to make peace with the Centaurians. Canis and Pagaya, there are the two Skypieans that help the Straw Hat crew. They're pretty much friendly people. Pretty much, they don't do anything wrong. Wiper is the leader of the Sandorians. He wants to pretty much reclaim Upper Yard, reclaim the land that was once Jaya, reclaim that for his people. And this thing called Vars, which is dirt, is considered sacred in Skypiea. And he is trying to fight back and take the land back from Inaru. And Inaru, we do not meet just yet. Before we meet Inaru, we have his priest. And you have Om, who is a guy that uses a cloud sword. You have Satori, who uses cloud balls. And that guy is like kind of like a comic, kind of laughing all the time, balancing high-pitched voice. Luffy, Sanji, and Usopp take care of him and knock him out. Shura, who's kind of more like not really laid back, almost more laid back than Shura. Shura's more like, kind of like, I'm going to get this job done. I'm going to be the one to get everything. Kind of more head first. He gets beaten by Viper, but he fights Gonfall and Chopper at one point. Then Gedatsu, we haven't really learned what he's about yet, but he's fighting the Centaurians with Om. And then you have Inaru, who he actually doesn't appear until the last 2 episodes of the first part of season 6 here, like part 1 of season 6. And for the most part, you just hear about him. He uses hockey where he can sense everything. I think it's the color observation hockey, but he can sense everything. He uses lightning to pretty much strike down on people. And you finally don't get to meet him until he calls his priest up to the upper yard to his kind of like not castle but his base. And then he finally makes his appearance, and you're like, this dude looks cool. I like the design of Inaru. I'm excited to see where it goes forward when it comes to Inaru. But yeah, I'm actually excited for the back half of this because I only seen Skypiea one time going for like one time. And I didn't watch all of it because a lot on TV growing up, so I didn't get to see all of it. I seen bits and pieces. I know how it ends. I seen the last fight. I seen Inaru versus Luffy, but I've not seen the rest of it, how everything concludes. So I'm curious to see how this plays out. But that's pretty much the main gist of the characters here in season 6, part 1. Any other thoughts? No, the music is One Piece music. It hasn't changed. It's the same song, same soundtrack. It's still a good music score. The drawing in detail, there's certain times when the animation doesn't hold up. The animation is kind of weak because it just wasn't drawing. Like, I think they was rushing. So instead of just, drawing fully detailed things, they would just draw like a circle for a character and like blank face. So the animation sometimes not that strong in this season for the first half of it, especially on Sky Island. But other than that, it's some good stuff. I enjoyed season 6, part 1. Is this a season you should binge though? Nah, don't binge this one. It's a lot going on here. Take your time on this and grading time. I'm going to grade One Piece season 6, part 1. I'm gonna give this a B-. It gets an 80% for me. Strong setup, a lot of good content here. The first 9 episodes are really good. The back half, the last 16 is just setting up for the Skypiea stuff as you're learning more about Skypiea and exposition. And you get a few fight scenes here and there, but it's not really anything too big. It doesn't really feel like it's do or die. Like, you knew the Straw Hats were gonna beat Suntory somehow, and you knew that Chopper was gonna be able to save the ship somehow. So there's some stuff here that's like, okay, it's not do or die yet. The stakes are not that high, but we're gonna find out here in the back half of season 6 to see what's going on. So I give this a B- and 80%. If you've seen One Piece season 6, part 1, what did you think? Please put in the comments section below. On that, see you guys in the next episode movie breakdown series review. And keep being awesome. Thank you so much for making it to the end of this video. I really appreciate that. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. If there's a review you want me to watch or do, let me know. Please put it in the comment section below this video. Also, you want to watch the last episode movie breakdowns, it's right there. Just gotta click on it and you'll be able to watch it. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it. Love y'all and keep being awesome.